Well, hello, and welcome to the first video in my F1 23 My Team Career Mode. Um, I am still working to finish the Breaking Point 2, still unfinished, but I will get to that, of course. That's not forgotten. Pretty much, 3/4 of the way through it, so it will get done. But they're gonna at least get this My Team Career Mode started after 2 months of the game being out at this point, 2.5, something like that. But let's dive into things. Of course, we will be picking through all the various settings and whatnot, and of course, it's the most fun starting as the newcomer team, so we going with that option. Let's take a look as I take a sip of water. Let's take a look at the custom season and see what we can change with the schedule. And we can't change anything. So I believe that how this works is that there are more than 23 tracks in the game, but I don't believe we can use any of the other tracks until the second season. Um, until then, we can't switch things out. And there are 3 other tracks that aren't being used right out of the gate. I think it's China, France, and Portugal. And I kind of like that there is 3 other tracks because that does enable us to. Um, it gives more a little slight variance in the schedule, gives us some more options to play with in that regard. But starting off, we'll be going with the default 2023 schedule of 23 races. Let's go with customized settings here as we go through everything. Assists, everything is in order from the base game for what I changed it to, so that's good. Difficulty? Um, I think to start out we are going to tick down the difficulty slightly because I do remember that we have problems at the start of My Team Career Mode in F1 22. So I'll go with 70 for now, and then as the thing progresses, we'll probably up it a little more. Weekend structure. Practice format full. Qualifying. One shot. And of course, we are going to go with the traditional um, time or race length. I usually typically go with the 50% race distance, which is what we'll go here for this. The races are typically with the 50%, it's usually like 45 minutes, probably on average, to do a race, like start to finish. So you got full, one shot qualifying, not qualifying everyone uses, but for me, I think it's just easier to just get through everything over the course of a race weekend. So, yep, one shot qualifying and long race distances of 50%. Weather and time of day. I like having the forecast accuracy on perfect. That just means that we know exactly what the forecast is going to be throughout the whole weekend in every session. So, um, that's fine with me. Career settings. Okay, of course, driver moves will be on. That's pretty standard. Department event frequency will be on the default. Facility management and R&D management will both be on. That's good. Track acclaim rate for the player will be default. Track team acclaim rate for the player and AI will be default. Acclaim rate for the player and AI will be default. Okay, so for what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to put the resource rate for the player, which is me, at increased, and the resource rate for the AI at reduced. I did feel like that, what's the word? I did feel like, um, that even on reduced for whatever reason last year, the AI still upgraded pretty quickly. So, we'll keep that there. So we'll, 1 second. Boop, boop. And I'm back. Had a little interruption, nothing major. So resource rate for the player I'm putting on increased, so that means my resource points will be a little more than typical. Again, resource rate for the AI will be reduced, again, because I felt like even on reduced last year, the AI still seemed to upgrade at a very fast rate, so maybe this year in this game it's changed a little bit. Cash rate for the player will be increased. Again, that's something where with the resource points I might decrease that after like season 1 or season 2. Uh, and then the important one is the cash rate player or cash rate for the AI is going to be on default because in my personal experience, if you set that to reduced, then it will lead to some crazy driver transfers, especially in the middle of the season. So unless you want that, I would leave that on default. So their cash rate for the AI teams will be completely normal at the default rate. So increased for both of us, player or or I can't talk today. Resource rate player and cash rate player both increased. Resource rate for the AI is reduced, but cash rate is default. Fault frequency, so this is the big one. So we're going to put fault frequency at low, so it won't be off, but the fault types will be high. So again, this is more for like stuff like mechanical failures. So for this, it just means that while our fault frequency will be low, it will still occur, and the fault type, so that just means that technical faults, mechanical failures will both be enabled. So again, fault frequency is low, fault type is high. Again, just looking over everything again. Driver moves are on. Increased for the player, increased for the player, reduced for the AI, default for the AI. Fault frequency low, fault types high. Alright, rules and flags. Rules and flags on. Corner cutting stringency regular. Park for May rules on. Pit stop experience broadcast. Safety car will go with standard. So rules and flags on. Corner cutting stringency will be regular. Park Ferme on. Pit stop experience broadcast. Safety car standard. Safety car experience will also be broadcast. That just means that I won't be controlling the car during the safety car period. I think it saves a little bit of time. And yeah, after last year, I like to do all the broadcast and immersive settings for like the pit stop and the safety car and the formation laps. So, again, pit stop experience will be broadcast. Safety car frequency will be standard. Safety car experience will be broadcast. Formation lap will be on and immersive. And the big one, red flags reintroduced for this year. They will be standard. Now, in my playing of the game so far, I have not encountered a red flag as of yet. So we'll see if we do encounter one at some point during the career mode. So that should be interesting to keep an eye on as I go through it. Alright. Simulation settings. Flashbacks, unlimited. Realistic. Manual, surface carcass. Alright. Go back to rules and flags. Okay. I think that's it. Okay. Now this is, of course, the My Team icons. So, once enabled, My Team icons cannot be disabled. My Team icons can only be recruited by player teams and are optional hires, so I will use My Team icons. There is one particular driver that I would be looking to use potentially in Season 2. We'll see. And we're ready to go forward. Sure. Okay.
Welcome to my team. Here you'll experience the world of Formula One not only as a driver, but as the owner of a brand new F1 team. First things first, let's create your driver.
Alright. I definitely have there's one avatar that I typically go with every year in the game. That's this one right here. So go with that one. Country region, of course. I can't even say my own country name. Silly me. The United States of America. Name. Right.
Golden Boy.
Got that one. And driver number. Um, So I'm going to continue with what I did last year, I think. Let's see what we got in the 90s. And I'm going to, and again, since in real life this is his final season in NASCAR, I'm going to be honoring the guy who made this number famous, probably the most famous in motorsports, through the first decade or so of his career. And I'm going to go with the number 29 in honor of one Kevin Harvick. So we'll go with that.
And now let's focus on your driver's look.
Alright. Clothings and emotes. Helmet. Ah, yes, this is one I really like, of course. Very American livery here. Let's see if we can change that, make it a little bit brighter. Okay. I guess that'll work. Go with that one. Suit. Alright. Make sure I pick the right one here. I already had the suit and stuff picked out in F1 World, so I just want to make sure that I recreate it properly. Right, and then this one will be gray. Okay, that's fine. Gloves. Make that part black. Going to make the bluish parts the yellow. And make the rest of it gray. Right. Podium emote. Now, I'm going to go with this one. I would think that the Dutch flag they're using there is just the placeholder, and that when you actually win, it will be the flag of your country, I would think. But I guess I'll find that out whenever I win a race. That's something you can always change, so that shouldn't be a big issue. Rail call. Got that one. And advance.
Great. Now let's set up some of the key details of your new team.
Alright, here we go. So the team details.
We'll start with an easy one. What name would you like to give the team?
Alright, well, I'm going to go with the one I typically go with the last couple of games. Make sure I get it right. Rockstar Energy Racing.
Nice. Now, some kind of income stream is critical, so we need to sign a primary sponsor. Our primary sponsor will pay a sign-in bonus to the team up front. This is vital to cover the early investments we need to make. They'll also provide valuable weekly income for us. Each sponsor has a goal they want the team to achieve. If we hit that goal, the sponsor will pay us an additional goal bonus.
Alright, so for this part, we have to pick our sponsor, of course, and for me, I think this one is pretty easy. Gonna go with the one that we've picked in previous seasons, and served me well. Monet Paris. Earn 15 Constructors Championship points in a season. I think that's very attainable, and it just so happens to be one of the bigger signing bonuses of this group of sponsors, so we'll
Fantastic.
go
Now
with
we've
that.
got a budget to work with. Our car won't be going anywhere fast without a power unit. So let's sign a power unit supplier now.
Alright.
We need both performance and durability from our power unit, but we also need to balance the books. We're going to have a lot of other areas to invest our cash into.
Alright. Of course, plenty of cars in the grid run the Mercedes motors, or the Ferrari motors, or the Red Bull powertrain motors, so gonna go, add another Renault team on the grid and pick a
We
Renault.
almost have all the key partners for our team now, but we still need a teammate for you.
Okay, so here is the big next part of this. So, instead of hoping to get one driver or not, what I did after playing through F2 F2, or the part of the normal career mode where you do F2 and then you go into F1, is I picked 5 drivers that are sort of on my wish list, and whoever's available of the bunch, I'll decide from there. Or if there's just the one, then I'll have to go with that person. So I think in ranking order, I think it was Felipe Drukovich, Jehan Deruvla, Liam Lawson, Theo Pocher, I think that's how you say his name, and Marcus Armstrong. Now, will that be any of my driver choices? I don't know. Let's find out.
The higher a driver's experience, the more resource points are earned to spend on vehicle upgrades. Drivers earn acclaim based on their performances. When a driver earns enough acclaim, they will level up.
Alright. Okay, so, of course, Felipe Drugovich would have been my first choice, but I do see that my second choice of Jehan Deruvela is available, and he's also not the most expensive of the bunch. So, I think I will go with Jehan Deruvela, I think that's how you say his first name, as my teammate. Alright, so there's everything there. I think some good choices. Gives us $1 million in the bank going into the season, which is good. So we'll confirm
Let's
that.
create the livery we'll be running this season. We can add
Alright.
more sponsors to the car as we sign them throughout the year. And don't worry, we can edit our look at any time from HQ.
Alright, let's select livery. The one I picked, I believe, was this one, Slate. Alright. Alright. I'm trying to remember the different parts here of this. I think this part here was definitely black. That part was definitely gray. Okay. Making sure they're all the same type here. Okay. And that'll be the look of the car for the first, I think probably at least 2 seasons. Yellow and black with some gray. There is another paint scheme that I did purchase recently, but I think we're going to save that for later seasons. And sponsor decals. You can edit your sponsors once you have finished setting up your team. Okay, so I don't take care of that right now. And don't need any of that noise.
Last but not least, we need to consider our brand, our badge, and team colours.
Alright. Team badge. Definitely go with that one. As I remind myself of the Rockstar Energy logo. course, this won't be exact, but pick that. Emblems. All right. Let's see. Ooh, excuse me. Let me check the background again. So it's style number 2. That's the one we're going to go for. So what I can see here, the Rockstar Energy logo is a gold or yellow star with black lettering, typically. So I guess that's what we'll go with for the colors. So I'm going to change the color on this to black. Accept that, and then this here, we're going to make it that 240, and we'll go 77. Pretty close to as close you can get to the logo in this game, so. And then team colors. So the main color will be the yellow. And I might need to alter this depending on how the attires for everyone looks like. So I think the second color will be black and the third will be gray. But again, that's something I can easily adjust. So all right, and that is how things look as things stand. Fence.
Great, that's everything we need. You can go back and edit anything we've done so far, and we'll come back here at the start of each season. But if you're ready to go, hit advance to head to Team HQ, and we can start our push to the top of Formula One.
All right, let's get to it.
New year, new drivers, new team. Welcome and great to have you with us as we move far away from the paddock to the headquarters of the newest outfit on the Formula One grid. We've been granted exclusive access with an interview not just with the team owner or the star driver, but both. Because for the first time in modern F1 history, the team owner is behind the wheel themselves. Now is a great time to bring a new team into the sport, particularly off the back of such compelling competition last year. 2022 saw huge regulation changes and who came out on top in the development race. But that was last year. This year could be a very different story. Let me tell you, this facility is an absolute hive of activity, and there is a palpable sense of excitement around the car they've built. Quietly, they truly believe they can challenge at the top, and they've had the time now to craft a hugely competitive race car. But theory is one thing, and taking on the brightest lights in motorsport is quite another. So how does the owner of F1's 11th team feel as they prepare to be thrust into the limelight of the F1 circus? New driver lineups, Qatar returns, Las Vegas debuts, and the engineering race continues to push the sport and the drivers to new heights. What are they aiming for? Most excited about? Most nervous for? Well, soon we will meet them to find out. But first, let's take a look at the brand new car. Thank you so much for having us. Great to be here. I'm going to start with the question that
Weird to
everyone
see
is
him without a hat.
It's been a long time since we've seen a team owner drive their own car, and a lot's changed since then. The sport has really evolved. So how are you going to manage the responsibility of doing both roles?
All right.
And tell me about your teammate. They're clearly very excited to have signed with you. What do they bring to the team?
Right.
So tell me about the work on the car. It's clearly a blank canvas. You've done a lot. What have you prioritized?
All right. Now this is the part where we pick our different things here. All right.
Now, there's no getting away from the fact that your competitors have a huge amount of Formula One experience. You are a total newcomer. Tell us where you see the opportunities to make those vital performance gains. Now, ultimately, your success this season will be determined by whether you can take positions from other drivers. Where do you believe this car has the edge? And with so many disciplines and experts working so closely together here at your HQ, who gets the coveted Teacher's Gold Star? Who are you most proud of as the first race edges ever closer?
Alright, so, of course, from what I've seen and heard from other people who have done videos on my team stuff, it seems like with the new car, the 2022 and beyond car, the getting the weight down is going to be the big key, so I think we're going to go with the chassis department, and that'll be the... Because the answer to this question basically decides, okay, this, they're starting at a certain level above the other departments, so... I think chassis is the one to go with there.
Well, I could talk to you all day. Thank you so much for your time, but I better let you get back to work. There's plenty more still to do. All the very best for your inaugural F1 season.
So I tried to balance out all the answers there with all the teams, and then for the final question, giving the boost to the chassis department. So yeah, that's where things stand. Of course, we're not doing the first race at this point, but just getting everything ready to go. Okay, balance, resource management, claim, all that.
It's important to use the time between races to the fullest extent, and that's where these activities come in. Manage everyone's time as efficiently as possible to maximize the team's performance.
All right. Alright, looking through the mail here. Alright. All just like tutorial stuff.
This is where you can view our current facilities and the effects they're having on the business. You can also invest some of our cash into upgrades for these facilities.
Okay, so as you can see, for the start of the season, we are basically in the mix for the bottom part of the grid, as you would expect. Um, we are above AlphaTauri. We are sort of on par with Alfa Romeo and McLaren, and we're just behind Haas and Williams. So basically, the fight for basically outside the points is going to be very tight as we go through here. Um, of course, there's all our allocations and whatnot. Sponsors,
This is the
contracts.
driver market. From here, you can see pertinent details on every driver in the sport, compare them with each other, and add them to your watch list. When the contract negotiation window rolls round, this is where you'll approach any drivers you wish to hire.
Alright. So looking at our My Team icons, I tend to steer clear of the legends. It's funny, the My Team icons are basically like F1 legends and sort of notable popular F1 drivers in recent history. Of course, you do have access to the characters from Breaking Point. So I think the person I was looking at is Jamie Chadwick. So I'll put a watch on her. Put a watch on Felipe Drugovich. And Kamui Kobayashi is an interesting one because he is, in real life, he's a notable, he did race in F1, but he's a notable sports car driver and recently made a start in NASCAR. So certainly an interesting name on that list. I thought Daniel Ricciardo was on here too. Let's see, where is Daniel Ricciardo on here? I thought for some reason that Daniel Ricciardo was one of the um, special drivers, but I guess he's not. So vehicle customization, we'll go to the car livery and add the sponsor decals. Now, for some reason, this always happens during the first race weekend in Bahrain. The sponsor decal doesn't show up properly um, on the rear wing. I don't know why that is. Hopefully this time I will remember to put it on the car. Of course, just going to fill up all the slots at this point with our main sponsor. So there's the big one. Make sure that rear wing decal is on there. Yep, and all the decal slots have been filled. I do find interesting that on the side pod, the location of the logo in relation to the livery doesn't exactly match on the other side, if you look carefully. So that's it's interesting, but yeah, there you go. We got that taken care of. All right, so you have 1,000 resource points to start out with, and we have to decide on what we're gonna do here for this part. So I think a driver training camp is always good, so we'll get that in there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 days left to fill out. So um, these ones are always hard to sort of decipher with because you're always going to knock one of them down, even though the resource point total goes up dramatically. Um, so I feel like the best course of action is just to go with the pre-season merchandise sale just to add more cash, even though it's only 625k. It's something better than nothing. And the driver trading camp does give us some resource points, so I think that's all well and good. Um, so facilities, of course, our chassis is on level 1 already. Um, all right. So that's how things are looking on those things at the moment. R&D, so let's see where things stand just looking around here. So we're about middle of the pack in aero. Chassis, we are near the back. Engine, we are near the back. And durability, we are near the back. So what I'm going to do is our first upgrade, I'm going to give it to... Oh. I'm going to give it to the chassis, since that will be available a little more quickly than the others. And then we'll have to wait until you get more resource points, but then the next one will be general improvements to the gearbox. So that's where we're going to go for now. Let's try to keep all the departments happy.
Okay, we've had the new parts come through the fabrication process. We'll have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
And good news is that that one upgrade already came in, so that's a good sign out of the gate. And let's see here. We're now back to up to 1,100 resource points, so we will go to durability. We'll get that gearbox upgrade. Then I guess I'll go with an engine upgrade. We have the resource points to do so, so we'll get that. We'll get all those in the pipeline. And then we have 3.25 million. So I guess what we'll do is we'll go to aerodynamics. So I think we will do the build time on the aerodynamics. And on the engine, the powertrain, we will do the quality control. Get that taken care of. And I'll get these driver perks real quick, and I'll reduce our cash to very, very low. But I think that's necessary right out of the gate to get that taken care of. So, that's a good place to stop. So, the next time I come to this series, it'll be time for the first race. So, thank you for watching, and tune in next time when we go to the first race of the season, the Bahrain Grand Prix.